All right, y'all. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you're tuning in. I'm grateful to have you here. And we got Charlie Kirk back in the building, supposedly about to wreck a cross-dressing student. So should be a doozy. Let's get it popping.
It is shown, and this is legitimate, those who transition and are treated as the gender that they identify as mentally improve unbelievably, and it is absolutely true.
So I hate to break it to you. They're more likely to commit suicide. There's a huge community called Transition Regret. I encourage you to look at it. It has 27,000 members on Facebook of people who make the chemical castration decision to transition, and that's an irreversible decision. It's a growing group of people that say, I was sold a complete bill of goods here. And so, you know, that really is the question, which is, if it's irreversible, and you're citing some study that, honestly, the data shows exactly the opposite, is that they're more likely to commit suicide, more likely for self-harm, all these sorts of things. What is the proper way to treat it?
As I said, the study has not been disproven. The reason that the suicide rate is so high is because they are bullied for who they are. I have seen it in school, and this is a truth.
And you know why I know it's nonsense? Because every single person in this room disagrees with you fundamentally and is treating you incredibly respectfully tonight. That is a pile of garbage. I know it's a pile of garbage.
Of course.
And
dumpster fire.
Instead, and I'll be honest, it's the people that are in those positions that end up becoming the bullies themselves, that kicked me off of Twitter. That's, and no offense, but kind of your team is the one that's super, like, offended that I used a name that Levine used to have. Like, who's the bully in this situation?
Well, it's disrespectful to do that because she identifies as a woman. And it is just disrespect. That is why I can't speak for everyone else. I can only speak for myself at the end of the day, right? And it's just disrespectful, and it is not right to call Leah Thomas her dead name, out of respect for her.
Levine or whatever, but let me zero in on this, right? So it's a birth name, whatever, you could call it a dead name, it's fine. But if I were to do a biography on Thomas, and I would include that name, how is that disrespectful? Isn't that, like, let's take your argument at face value. Wouldn't that be a journey of transition, a courageous movement towards who you really are? Like an uplifting kind of sort of story and saga from the man I used to be and the woman I am now? How's that?
Get animated on him, Charlie.
Oh, well,
Go
in
ahead.
that context, probably.
So dead naming's now okay. I mean, maybe my tweet was all about the courageous journey of Ricardo Levine that once was named Richard and now its name is Rachel. Do you see what's getting here is that you're putting a lot of preference on context and on how I identify and all of this. And your opinions, you can have your opinions. But what we're talking about tonight is how we structure society, right? And that is a totally different thing than your opinion. So when we start to structure society on a vast minority opinion, and we start to use power and force around that vast minority of an opinion, all of a sudden, the only way you can win that argument is the person who wins the oppression Olympics. Is the person who says, I'm the most victimized, therefore I get to create the rules because I'm not comfortable. And here's something that you might not want to hear, is that if you have liberty, by definition, you're not going to be comfortable. You cannot have liberty and comfort. You can't have them together. Instead, you know what? And I think deep down you have this in you. You can get stronger. And I want you to get stronger. Instead of you trying to remove everything that offends you in the world, I want you to dig deeper and be tougher than the people around you. That's what we believe.
Amen. About time somebody said it.
Final thought. Final thought. Yeah.
Oh, final thought. Sorry.
He got you there, didn't he?
I'm trying to think of a final thought. At the end of the day, like, no hate towards you. I respect your opinion. Of course, like, I'm not here to, cause a fight or an intense argument. I'm just saying I disagree. And there is no oppression Olympics. All that, we want is simply just recognition and respect. That's really it.
Well, look, here's the thing, is that that's what you want. And individually, I think I've given that to you. But here's where I draw the line. I'm not going to restructure society on something I know that's not true. I'm not going to turn my back on 50% of the population for something that's not true. And I'm certainly not going to call somebody a pronoun that I know that isn't true in front of me. So I believe your soul totally demands respect. Absolutely, 100%. But as soon as you then start to get into society and civilization and restructure everything around your feelings, then all of a sudden it's whoever has the loudest voice and who's willing to use power. And that's where we as conservatives draw the line. I want to thank you for being here tonight, truly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Charlie nailed it when he said your soul deserves respect. But at that point, I draw the line, because you can want all these things. I could wake up wanting to be a trillionaire. I could want to fly, but just because I want it doesn't mean I'm going to attain it. Doesn't mean God's going to give it to me. Dressing up, playing fantasy is one thing if that's the sort of thing you're into. But when you start trying to change up genders, put it onto kids, push puberty blockers, and when somebody calls you out for it, when somebody uses their right as an American citizen and says freedom of speech and they disagree with you, if then you bash them, but you want us to respect you, isn't that kind of hypocritical? Like, you could try to do all the stuff you want behind closed doors, except when you start to prey on innocent children and victimize them because they don't know what's going on. Shout out to my comment of the day. Matter of fact, it's a perfect time for it. Goes out to CS, not C.S. Lewis, I'm sure, God rest his soul. But they said, I wanted to be a Ninja Turtle when I was a kid. Was my mom supposed to move me into the sewer system, pour toxic ooze on me, buy me a turtle shell, bandana for my eyes, and a pair of nunchucks, and order me a pizza? These parents need to be put in prison. That's what they said. And I couldn't agree with it more, because when you start trying to change things up and go against what God put into fruition, what God brought to life, God said, and let there be light. And then he made the greatest creation he's ever made. And that's human beings after the animals and the stars and the galaxies and all that sort of stuff. But now people are trying to make it okay for a man, a genetically born man, to go into a woman's restroom. And it's crazy enough seeing people that are okay with confused dudes trying to be women and then getting awarded for it, like the Leah Thomases of the world, a born man, and they won Woman of the Year for swimming. How much sense does that make? But that's one thing. But when you start putting real women in a dangerous situation, like where they feel unsafe going into a public restroom, we got big problems, because I've said it before, but don't let me catch one of these Looney Tunes going into the same restroom as my wife, because I promise it'll look like D-Day up in that place, wherever it is. And I don't want to have to take it to that level, but I will face that judgment if you put my wife in a dangerous situation, or any woman, any daughter out there. Men, go to men's bathrooms. Women, go to women's bathrooms. Stop expecting everybody to go along with your confused narrative, because that's not the case. We draw the line, and we have the right to disagree with the confusion and mental illness that you're trying to push onto society. It's not going to happen. We got the education system basically preying on these innocent children in school that should just be going there to learn math and English and history. That, you know, if you've seen my Gen Z videos, the common sense in society is extremely lacking. We don't have it anymore. We don't know when the United States was founded, but we live in the United States. We don't know that there's a capital, Washington, D.C., that there's 50 states. People don't know these sorts of things. I touched on that in my video yesterday, but they want to push all these puberty blockers, and teenagers or younger executing irreversible surgeries that Charlie touched on. You can't hit rewind. Once you execute that action, once you crop something off, once you insert this and inject this chemical that Lord knows what it is, like, you can't go back on that. And gender pronouns that nobody can keep up with, because people weren't content with the only two genders that God created in this earth, Adam and Eve, designed specifically to be with each other in marriage. They're the only two that can produce a baby. Only a woman genetically born can have a baby, and men are the ones that make that thing possible. It's not Adam and Arnold. It's not Eve and Amelia or anything like that. That's no bueno. It's XY, XX chromosomes. You can get upset about it all you want. You can't change it, though. You love them or hate them. It is what it is. It's sad when you see a dude like that wearing like fish netting, lingerie, or whatever on his arms, and all sorts of confused, growing his hair out. I think he had lipstick, probably had mascara, nails painted, all sorts of just going down a path of destruction. He don't know where he's going. Like, he don't know what he is. He can't look in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm Tom, or you know what, he don't know what's going on. And it's very sad, but it comes down to these parents that are evil and wicked, and they allow this to happen to their children. At some point, you got to put your foot down, be the guardian, be the common sense that knows better, and get your child on the right path. Boy or girl, you got to lead them down the path that is the righteous path, with truth, with discipline, with consistency, with moral values and standards, and not just allow them to wake up and think that they could do whatever they want and that sort of stuff flies. Because parents nowadays, they're trying to be friends and buddy with their child. And I'm not a parent yet, but if I were, I'd tell my kid that it's not my job to be their friend. I don't care if they don't like me sometimes. I don't care if they get upset in your feelings, whatever. I'm doing my job if you're upset at the punishments and the discipline that I'm instilling in you. Because if I do my job right, they'll grow up to be the kind of people that I want to be friends with, that society looks to for an example, for a positive role model. That's the kind of parent I would be. And that's the kind of parents we need in society. Again, establishing ground rules and laying down the hammer when it needs to be laid down. And a big one at the end was when he said they just want to be respected. And I respect you. I appreciate you as a human being. We all bleed red. That's the one race, the human race. But respect isn't given. It's earned. And if and when you do earn that, it's not supposed to be like a public award show. It's usually known between the two parties and it's done in private. And I respect your choice to blatantly sin and go against biblical values. That's on you. You got to face that judgment. But remember, you have to respect me as a Christ follower for calling out your sin and trying to guide you towards truth. That's my job, to season my speech with salt and bring people towards God's kingdom. And I just want us all to accept Jesus as Lord and Savior and not to have you damned for eternity come judgment day. Is that wrong of me? Is that bad of me to want you to find salvation and find peace and find contentment in the man or woman you were born to be? Comment your thoughts below. I would love to hear your opinion on this. You may not have a biblical lens when you walk through life. You might not approach it from that perspective, but what do you think about this right here? And should we go along with this? If somebody thinks they're a he, a she, a him, a her, a they, a this, a thus, like what should we be doing? Should we be calling it out? I think I know for a fact we should be calling out sin, but what do y'all think? Let me know down below. But before we roll out, I got to hit y'all with some biblical soul food. I got to dish out some scripture, some truth for those of y'all that may not know. Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will make straight your paths." And then Deuteronomy 31 verse 8 goes on to say, "It is the Lord who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Do not fear or be dismayed." So stop going into life and going into every day thinking that you got to have it all figured out, that you know the best way. God knows the best way. Jesus Christ took on the cross for all the evil, all the sin in the world. Look to him, lean on him. Stop leaning on your own anxiety and confusion and all the stuff that the world is trying to promote is okay, and look to Jesus. What would Jesus do in that situation? How would he want you to walk on your day-to-day life and through all the struggles and turbulence? Because like Charlie said, you don't need to just curl up in a shell. When you face these issues, we need to have perseverance. We need to know how to take those things on the chin, handle it, know exactly that we're loved by God, no matter what all these people say, no matter who makes fun of us, who talks at us. Take a deep breath, realize that you're God's greatest creation. You're unique with your own specific set of genetic code. Take light in that, take heart in that, and keep moving forward. Don't let the world determine your path. God will make your path straight if you keep your eyes on him and keep pushing forward through all the crazy turbulence that this life and especially this climate brings into life every single day. It's ridiculous, but you got to keep it moving forward. But if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That means ring the bell so you can stay notified anytime I post a video. If you want to support the channel, all the merch you see me wearing, like this Be the Light shirt, was made by my lovely wife. It's over on her Etsy store. Bunch of different designs, Christian designs, American, all different sizes, petite teat to big, colors, bleach option, no bleach. We got long sleeves, tees, hoodies, whatever you need. We don't discriminate. It'll be linked in the description section and the pinned comment as well. So make sure you go check that out. Shout out to Charlie Kirk and everybody who made this possible right here. This respectful discussion. Although they were wrong, the fishnetted, confused dude right there, he was wrong, but it's our job as Christ followers to direct them towards truth, to still love them, still pray for them, but call out the sin when we see it and get them on the righteous path. But you may disagree. That's your prerogative. Share this video, get it out in front of other people, allow them to think for themselves and make their own decision as for what to do. But until next time, I love y'all. I'm praying for you and this crazy world and all the people in it. Godspeed. I'm gone.